Well, it's definitive. I'm ranking all of Scarlet and Violet's chase cards from all booster box sets. In case you weren't aware, there are 10 main sets from the whole Scarlet and Violet era, plus of course some holiday sets. So my next video will be ranking the holiday sets, 151, Prismatic Evolutions, etc. But this is ranking base set all the way through to Destined Rivals on the top 5 chase cards. So in my opinion, what is the number 1 set when it comes to chase cards, and what is the number 10 set when it comes to chase cards, and everything else in between 1 down to 10. Now, chase cards, you might ask, Pokeoz, Michael, why are they so important? What does it matter? Why would you even bother ranking that? Well, we all know, well, if you're new to the hobby, you might not, but if you've been around the hobby, we all know that chase cards, and the stronger the chase card, the more expensive the chase card, the nicer the artwork, the better the Pokemon inside. There's so many reasons that add value to a chase card, but the better the chase cards inside a set, the stronger the value of that set's sealed product is going to be. There is an extremely, extremely clear correlation between those two things. I've done multiple videos on it. So we're sort of in the infancy stage when it comes to Scarlet and Violet at the moment. Really, none of the booster boxes are super expensive. You might argue they're very overpriced for where they sit, and I'd probably agree with you, but it's supply demand at the moment. The supply is just not meeting the demand. The demand for Pokemon cards at the moment is absolutely insane, and all booster boxes are getting, eaten up, whether it's scalpers, rip and shippers, collectors, players, whatever it might be, investors, they are just getting eaten up, and we just have to deal with that fact. If you want Pokemon cards, just buy them. Will they get cheaper? Quite possibly. Will they never get cheaper? Also quite possibly. Who knows? That's not what this video is about. This isn't a supply-demand video. I was just touching on why they're so dear at the moment. But essentially, Scarlet and Violet booster boxes, they're not collectibles in their own right at the moment. They're just not. They're not rare enough to be. Eventually, all Scarlet and Violet booster boxes will become expensive. Ask yourself, why is a black and white base set booster box so dear? There's next to no chase cards inside it. Well, that's because it becomes a collectible in its own right. Same with XY base set, same thing. There's no chase cards really inside that set, but it becomes a collectible in its own right. Why? Because it's a rare sealed product where not many are left in existence. Eventually they depreciate. The number of sealed booster boxes on the market or in existence will slowly go down in numbers essentially, and that'll put upward pressure on the price as long as there's still a little bit of demand for them. But at the moment, no Scarlet and Violet booster boxes are rare. Destined Rivals booster boxes, not rare. Surging Sparks booster boxes, not rare. You could argue some of the singles inside there are collectible. Of course they are, because 1 in 1,000 packs to pull one, plus the PSA 10 conversion rate. So you could argue again the PSA 10s are more rare, hence why they're more expensive. But let's just jump straight into this. Let's just jump into why. And the best 2 examples are probably over the last 5 years. Before we touch on, my ranking of 1 through to 10, and that's Evolving Skies and Team Up. This is the best example of the correlation between how strong chase cards reflect strong sealed product price. Team Up booster boxes, Evolving Skies booster boxes, so we roll through some Evolving Skies cards on the screen here, all the evolutions, Rayquaza, Dragonite. We know it's boom or bust, that set. Pull rates are very, very tough on it, but you know what? The audience doesn't seem to care. The buyers don't seem to care. What they care about is the value of those chase cards, the gamble of trying to get them. Humans are inherent gamblers. That thrill of being able to chase, one of those alternate arts from Evolving Skies is so exciting for people. And of course, these are all off the collector app. There'll be a link in the description to download it. Fantastic app, so easy to use. I urge everyone that doesn't have it to download it, and those that do to update it, because there's always new updates coming through. But on that, there is 7 chase cards in both Evolving Skies and Team Up above $200 US. And what can we see? The box prices are super expensive. So this is why it matters, okay? A booster box with no chase cards in it will eventually be expensive because it'll become a collectible. However, a booster box from a set with stronger chase cards will be more expensive in the future. Why? Because it has better chase cards inside it. And there's heaps of things that add to that, the Pokemon, how popular it is, what the pull rates are, how hard it is to gem into 10 and therefore its PSA 10 price. But here we go. Up on the screen here, here's my ranking of 1 to 10, and I'll zoom in a little bit. These are all Scarlet and Violet era main sets. All I've done is put the top 5 most expensive chase cards from each era and each set of Scarlet and Violet. Starting with Destined Rivals, I've ranked at number 1, and I'll go into some reasoning in this, right through to base set that I've ranked at number 10. So as you can see, Look, you might agree or disagree with my selections. I'm going to go through them anyway, but as you can see, I've ranked them from 1 through to 10, Destined Rivals being at the top and Base Set being at the bottom. And why? And look, some of these prices, mind you, are very subject to change. I'll remind everyone that when Padawan Evolved first came out, Magikarp was 18 US dollars. It was like the 6th or 7th most expensive chase card inside the set. And now look at it, like it's got to be north of about 220 US dollars raw, doesn't it? So any of these cards could change. And to be fair, Destined Rivals prices are arguably maybe going to drop. Look, that Mewtwo could hold strong, but is Nidoking going to remain a 110 US dollar card? Probably not. Will it dip to maybe like a 50 or 60 US dollar card? Quite possibly. More supply of that set will hit the market. Either way, I don't think that matters because I'm talking long term here. I'm talking, how will these chase cards hold up in 5 or 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years time, and therefore the reflection that'll have on the booster box price as the booster box becomes rarer and rarer. And the reason I've ranked Destined Rivals at number 1 is because I think it has the best top 5 chase cards. Are the top 5 chase cards as good as Evolving Skies? No. Everyone's been waiting for that booster box set from Scarlet and Violet to be the next Evolving Skies. And look, to be fair, I just don't think we're going to, well, we haven't got it. We just haven't got it, unfortunately. Is Destined Rivals the closest thing to it out of everything? Is it the best of the bad bunch? That's not a fair statement, best of a bad bunch. It is a very, very strong Pokemon card set. The Mewtwo, look, love it or hate it, it's a phenomenal looking Pokemon card in my opinion. I actually quite like it. The reintroduction of cards like, a special illustration red Nidoking, like how cool is that? The Moltres is a really, really good looking card. This set just has a very, very strong top 5, and that is going to correlate to a very, very strong booster box price in the future. And it's already showing on the secondary market, what booster boxes are going for at the moment. Let alone fast forwarding 5 or 6 or 10 years time with this booster box price, coupled with the fact there's nostalgia. Taking that out of the equation because we're just looking at top 5 chase cards, but with that in play, Destined Rivals will be a phenomenal booster box in the future to invest in. Number 2 on my list was Surging Sparks. This also has a really, really strong top 5 in my opinion. The Pikachu, again, love it or hate it, it's there and it's the top chase card from the set. There's absolute bangers inside here like the Latias, the Milotic, the Hydreigon. There's a gold Pikachu inside there as well. It has a strong top 5. I mean, you compare Destined Rivals and Surging Sparks top 5 to something like a Fusion Strike top 5 or a Lost Origin top 5, and you go, well, you know what? These two sets stack up comparably. And then you go, well, look at Fusion Strike prices. Look at Lost Origin booster box prices. That's probably the direction these two booster boxes are going to head once they're out of rotation and once supply starts dwindling on them. Number 3 on my list, this was actually a bit of a tough one, but I ended up going with Twilight Masquerade. I like the fact that we have 2 waifu cards in here, not because I collect them, but just because it's something different. We don't need to always have 5 Pokemon as the top chase cards. It's sort of cool to have some waifus in there as a chase card. Ultra Prism for that reason is a really cool set from Sun and Moon era for that very reason. And the Greninja, of course, being the main hit from that set, I love that card. I really like it. I get it. A lot of people say it's wishy-washy, it's just a splash of color and that's it. But I like it. I think it's a very, very nice looking Pokemon card. So that's what I put at number 3. This is my hardest one though. Number 4 and number 5 between Padawan Evolved and Journey Together. And look, you might be thinking, oh, well, Padawan Evolved's way stronger than Journey Together. Oh, Padawan Evolved's stronger than Twilight Masquerade. Padawan Evolved's stronger than Surging Sparks. And it's like, well, if you look at it just like for like across, and this is the best way to look at it. This is why I've laid them out in this order. To look, you go Magikarp, okay, phenomenal chase card. It's not worth as much as Greninja from Twilight Masquerade. Is it better looking? Yeah, I think it's a better looking card than Greninja. I really like the Greninja, but I still think the artwork on that Magikarp's phenomenal and better looking. But it is in its own right still an illustration rare. And then we go down the list and we've got a waifu and we've got, cards like the Tyranitar and the Sleeping Raichu, which are really good looking cards, but they don't stack up, in my opinion, to a Surging Sparks or a Twilight Masquerade. And then we go down to Journey Together and I go, whoa, that Salamence is a hit. That is bringing some heat to the party. And Lily's Clefairy, to have both Lily on there and the cute look with Clefairy, like that's a phenomenal looking chase card. Journey Together, I was nearly tempted to put that above Paldea Evolved in terms of like just comparing the top 5 chase cards. If it wasn't for Shinji Kanda's Magikarp, I think Journey Together would be above it. Interesting. Journey, the more I look at Journey Together, the more I quite like it. I know pull rates are a touch easier and that could have a bit of an impact on future box price, but this reintroduction of an old mechanic, the nostalgia behind it, I quite like it. Number 6 on my list was Temporal Forces. I'll get that out in a second. Look, these new iterations of legendary dogs and other cards inside there, they don't do anything for me. They don't really resonate with me, but I can look at those cards and go, the artwork on them is absolutely phenomenal. I can get the argument that maybe somewhere down the track in 10 or so years' time, 12-year-olds at the moment that are playing the game and absolutely love it might resonate better with those Pokemon as they get older. This is their era, this is their generation. They might go back to this generation and buy. Whether that's 10 or 15 years, I don't know, but I get that argument. The Ghastly inside there's a cool card with Haunters and Gengars cruising around. 7th on my list was Paradox Rift. I wouldn't say we're getting into the dregs now. I actually don't think there's any dregs from the Scarlet and Violet era. If you look at them like for like in comparison to the weaker, particularly Sword and Shield booster boxes, the weaker Scarlet and Violet booster boxes are so much stronger than the weaker Sword and Shield booster boxes. And look at what some of those are doing in price. So if that's a reflection, then that's the direction we're probably going to head in, is that these are going to be stronger booster box prices than the weak Sword and Shield ones. So Paradox Rift, look, Roaring Moon on there. The Groudon is a phenomenal looking Pokemon card. Number 8 on my list was Stellar Crown. Look, pull rates are a touch easy on this set. The Bulbasaur and Squirtle were cool. It finishes off that original base set trio with the Charmander that comes in Obsidian Flames, which I thought was really cool. The Terrapagos is probably, in my eyes, a forgettable chase card. Some people might absolutely love it, but it doesn't do anything for me, but I do like the Bulbasaur and Squirtle in there. Number 9 on my list was Obsidian Flames. Without that Charizard, there's not much heat packing in this set at all. I pulled that Charizard not long ago, which got me a little bit excited. It's a cool chase card to pull. What else is in there? The Ninetales is a good looking card. The Cleffa, I do like the artwork on that, but we can see the values of these cards are super, super low. The pull rates were relatively easy. And number 10, I put it just ahead, the Obsidian Flames that is, I put it just ahead of base set. Base set, I do like the fact that we actually got what felt like a somewhat decent base set. Could they have done more? Yes. The legendaries I liked, I know they're not in the top 5, but we had that Routes, Gardevoir, evolution line inside there. The Drowsy was like, here we go, boys. This is what an illustration rare should look like, because that's what they did. The direction was well and truly ticked off there. So there you go. There's my 10 from 1 down to 10 top 5 chase cards. Now, will it reflect exactly in that order? Like, I'm not saying Destined Rivals will be the most expensive booster box, Surging Sparks will be the second most, Twilight Masquerade will be the third most, Powder Evolve will be the fourth most, Journey Together will be the 5th most. But if we actually track it over time, like once Scarlet and Violet moves out of rotation, and let's say it's 6 or 8 years old as an era, that's when we'll start getting a clearer alignment between total set value or top 5 or 10 hits and the booster box price. All of the booster boxes will start getting rare, but the ones with the better chase cards will have more demand for them, and therefore prices will push up on those booster boxes. I've done it with Sun and Moon, where it is just a damn outright clear alignment. I've done it with X and Y. Booster box price versus top 10 hits price, or total set value, which is predominantly the top 10 hits. It just lines up. It doesn't miss. Like, there's nothing out of order. The lower the total set value, or the lower the top hits inside the set, the lower the booster box price. If one has a slightly higher top 10 hits inside it or total set value, the higher the booster box price. Like, it lines up perfectly. So if you're going to, what does this mean essentially? So if you're going to invest in booster boxes, everything's relatively, look, available probably isn't the right word, because it's available, but it's available at an inflated price. And look, that inflated price is just a reflection of supply and demand. So you need to decide whether it's the right time or not for you to buy those booster boxes. But once these go out of rotation, they're not going to be any cheaper than what they are now. So if this is any indication of where you should park your money, 1 through 10, maybe you could go with that. I'm Michael, this is Pokeoz. Catch everyone next time.